Hey, greetings everybody, Gleekon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. We are now into the second Chronicles. We're going to begin with the primordial history of World of Warcraft and of Draenor and what eventually leads to the orcs. We're going to have to get about 2/3 of the way through this book. I think there's a lot more chapters, but they're smaller. But it's going to amount to about 80 to 90 episodes leading up. Once we get about 1 year before the Horde invades Azeroth, that will take us to the novel of Rise of the Horde. So we'll pause and we'll do that. Then when the war begins, really I think at that point, right before we start the game, we'll also bust out the Last Guardian. The Last Guardian technically begins in the past. Some things we've already covered. Most of it is occurring right in that year zero first Horde invasion. But it does span the entire first game. And actually it looks to the future to some of the second game. So there will be a little bit of spoiler, but rather than try to parse which chapters are going to deal with the future or not, because I'm not sure if there's time travel or if it just extends. We'll probably just go ahead and bust it all out. Might have a change of heart at the time, but then right after we finish that Last Guardian book, we'll start our Let's Plays with orcs and humans. All right, so this is, we might have had this picture before in our last book. Either way, it's a pretty cool picture, and I don't mind revisiting it because it's been a while. This looks like sort of the pantheons, the realms of like an artistic interpretation of the realms with my thumb there. That's a special realm. That's just breaking the fourth wall. It's meta. Okay, so it looks like the largest rings encircling all are the domains of shadow as opposed to the domain of light. The domain of shadow, light within it gives holy energy, and that has an avatar in the form of the Naru. They're the prime forces of light. Whereas the shadow contains within it shadow power or void power. The void lords operate, and their avatars on Earth are the old gods. So the old gods are as powerful as, say, the Naru. We have some other domains as well. There's the domain of life. The domain of life has any nature powers, like what the druids tap into, and their avatars are the demigods, the wild gods on Earth. So they're pretty powerful, but they don't seem to be as powerful as, say, an old god or the Naru. And that is opposed to the power of death, which is what necromancy taps into, and that's the undead are their manifestations on Earth. And of course, there are some pretty powerful undead. Branching off into this, we have overlapping regions. So where shadow and death meet, we have decay. And where light and life meet, we have spirit power, which is what also I feel like some of the classes tap into. Okay, then we also have order versus disorder. Order, the forces of order give us our arcane energy. They are what is at the core of each world, and it's what the Well of Eternity, for instance, is tapping into. And they manifested with their avatars, the Titans on Earth. There are not very many left, but they were powerful and they birthed the races. So where order and chaos bleed together, you have the Earth itself, but I'm not sure if that tracks. But you also have water. Life, order, and life are water, whereas shadow is more, Earth is more susceptible to shadow. Where on disorder, you have the direct opposite of the order, which gives us our fell energy. That's where the Burning Legion comes into play, and they're in direct opposition. They want the end of all life. The Burning Legion are their avatars with Sargeras there. That's a cool picture. And disorder's elements are fire and air. Air would be the death side, whereas fire would be the life side. Interesting. In the midst of all of this, we have reality. And reality has two branching realms. the Emerald Dream, which is what life and nature touches into, and the Shadowlands, which is where reality and death are breached. So that's pretty cool. Okay, the first section of this book, we're going to do fully 3 parts and probably, or chapters as I call them on the channel, and probably do most of a 4th. It's called The Doom of Draenor. Or actually, no, this book is broken up into 2 halves. Basically, Draenor leading up to why they have to flee it and come to Azeroth, and then the second half, which is, I believe, the orcs and humans and how they interact. The first chapter within it is called Primordial Draenor. Some of this we've alluded to. And the episode we're going to do today is called Echoes of Conflict. So stay a while and listen to this one. Here we go. The universe was not crafted by loving hands. It was born from the clash of light and void. The constant strife between these 2 primordial forces ignited a cataclysmic explosion of energy, a Big Bang. From the fires of destruction, reality itself was forged and set into motion. Echoes of the struggle between light and void suffused this new realm of existence. Opposing energies surged through the physical cosmos, which was called the Great Dark Beyond. Every star, world, and mode of magic reflected the universe's destructive origins. Nowhere was this more apparent than in the twisting nether. This astral dimension was bound to the Great Dark Beyond, but it was a fundamentally different realm. Volatile magics ran rampant throughout the nether and kept it in a state of turmoil. And that's where the old gods, I believe, come from, or maybe that's where the Burning Legion comes from. When mortal life arose in the universe, it inherited this tradition of conflict. The clash of opposing forces, wills, and ideologies became the one constant in the cosmos. Some creatures who lived in the Great Dark Beyond stood as champions of order, hope, and life. The godlike Titans embodied these traits. Their spirits, known as world souls, took shape in the molten hearts of a handful of different worlds. After many long ages of slumber, the colossal Titans awoke in grand fashion, in the form of living, breathing worlds. The Titans wandered the Great Dark Beyond, or orbited it, to find and awaken sleeping world souls. In the process, they used their considerable powers to shape and order the worlds they encountered. Other forces stood in opposition to the Titans, including sinister beings known as the Void Lords. The Void Lords saw great potential in the Titans to serve as weapons of darkness. If even one of them fell to the Void Lord's corruption, that Titan could be used to bring about the end of the universe, the end of everything. Time and time again, the Void Lord's subtle attempts to corrupt the Titans failed. Influencing full-grown Titans was impossible, but what about before they had awakened? Such was the tactic the Void Lords pursued. They bent all of their malice and dark intent toward corrupting a slumbering world soul. They knew it was only a matter of time before they succeeded. The noble Titans had no knowledge of the Void Lord's plans. In their quest to find sleeping world souls, they had come into conflict with other dark creatures. These beings rallied under the banners of destruction, turmoil, and death. They came in many different forms and they spoke many different tongues, yet the Titans knew them by one name: demons. Demons had originated from the broken wastes of the twisting nether. Many of them reveled in the powers of fell magic, which was fueled by the destruction of life. The demons tore their way into the physical universe and wrought havoc on the Titans' ordered worlds. 2 Titans went to war with the troublesome demons. Their names were Sargeras and Agramar, and they were the greatest warriors the universe would ever know. As they hunted demons across the stars, they witnessed worlds dying and entire civilizations burning to ash. Seeing these unspeakable horrors only fueled Sargeras and Agramar's belief that what they were doing was right. Yet, Sargeras' conviction had its limits. In the end, it wasn't demons that broke his will. It was something far worse. Okay, so this is like a recap of the first whole section of Chronicles Volume 1. Nothing that we don't know, but it is nice to get this all in order again. I often have a hard time in my mind separating the Twisting Nether from the Great Dark Beyond, the Old Gods from the Void Lords, the Burning Legion, all of these different things. So the Twisting Nether is chaos as opposed to order and life. Order and life are the Titans, the Twisting Nether is the demons, and the one of the Titans is Sargeras. So by Sargeras going over to that side, that is the spark of all the conflict that we're currently seeing. And this conflict itself, as they're saying, is born from the clash of light and the void. So the two prime forces in the universe, their conflict has created existence as we know it, and everything else is just an echo of that conflict, including, to a much more microcosmic degree, the orcs versus humans, and the thing that has kept World of Warcraft going for 20 years. All right, guys, another episode in the Pipes 5x5. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode, which I can tell from the top is called The Fall of Sargeras. See you guys.